What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Epic Handshake podcast, the podcast about epic people that deserve an epic handshake. I am your host, Adon Banda. You can find me on Instagram at AZGearGuy. Also, be sure to check out this podcast Instagram. You can check us out on pretty much any streaming platform, Spotify, Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, pretty much any place where you can find a podcast. And don't forget the video element as well on YouTube, where you can see our lovely faces. Today I have my we're at this point, I think we're well acquainted, maybe. I don't know.
We are acquaintances.
Yeah.
We're friends.
Yeah, we're friends. Yeah. So good buddies. Kind of the previous episode, you probably remember Leaf in episode 3.
Good guy.
Yeah, great guy. He pretty much introduced tons of different people from all walks of life. Tanner is part of that same Utah Shooter Dudes group, and Utah local, Utah native. Right? You're a Utah native?
Originally from California, actually. I'm an implant, but a good kind.
A good kind. Awesome.
Not the communist kind.
Yeah,
We're already starting off hot.
Yeah, no kidding, right? Yeah, like just jump into politics. Anyway, yeah, Tanner, do you want to introduce yourself? Like, who are you? What do you do? I'm Tanner. I met Adon through our Utah Shooter Dudes group. I think it's kind of headed by Leaf. There's not really, I don't know if there's a really head. There's not really leaders, I guess.
Yeah, that's what's great about it. It's just like a chill group of guys, love shooting, love the Second Amendment, love freedom. So awesome guys, had the same kind of ideology.
Yeah, I think we all have kind of a common goal in our group, which is good.
Yeah, we're all for communities, all for families and just the freedoms. And so, pretty awesome group of guys, and was lucky enough to meet this fellow, and although I haven't been shooting out with them in like a year, I'm still a part of the group for some reason. I haven't been kicked out yet. No, I mean, I think just having people in the group, I think that's what our goal is just having that network. If you watch the previous episode, which hasn't aired yet, as we're recording this, we kind of talk about that. We talk about how we all walks of life, we're all from different arenas and just got plopped in the group just because we're into the same things, and we kind of try to have that same goal. Yeah, we have some awesome dudes, not just shooters, just awesome general dudes. I mean, Kevin, Blackbriar Media, awesome guy. Does a ton of work with his hands, and also cryptocurrency. Yeah, like investing guru guy, awesome. Like we'll
talk these people up. Hopefully we can get them on the show here soon. But
Kevin, do the show.
Yeah, Kevin, do the show, please.
That's an interesting man to talk to. But a lot of interesting guys. I love Alex. Alex is a good guy.
Yes.
Leaf. Oh my gosh, dude. Leaf is just a character.
Yeah, Leaf.
He's awesome.
Yeah. That's why I wanted him on the show, just because he knows how to talk.
Yeah.
And he knows how to engage, and just he led that episode, and I was super glad he did, because I was like, I don't know what to talk about with this guy. Anyway, yeah. So
we can talk more about the group, and you'll probably have more guys.
Oh, on anyway, for sure. Yeah. So more to come with that, hopefully. But yeah, Tanner, so you're kind of like in a lot of different industries right now. I mean, you're into firearms, obviously. You're into cars, definitely cars. I mean, we're looking at your Tacoma just right outside there. Really nice machine.
It's a beautiful one. I'm proud of that one.
Does it have a name?
I called it Frogfoot after the airplane.
Yeah.
I can't remember. It's a Sukhoi. It's a Russian plane. Carries a lot of ordnance. I thought it fit.
Yeah, it fits.
The Tacoma carries a lot of stuff, so named it Frogfoot. The Beamer's called Bakuv.
Oh yeah, that's right. Where do you house that? Is that here?
It's in the garage. Yeah.
Nice.
It's locked in.
Yeah, I was going to say there's a big dumpster out there in the garage
right now.
In the driveway there.
Yeah, that's a fun one. So that's a project car with Altaview Performance, and Jake and I working together on that one. So. Dude, I love cars. Yeah. I mean, so let me start this off. I started in just kind of, do we want to start?
Yeah, why not? Yeah. Like, give me your background. Like,
so,
what do the people want to know?
Yeah, I mean, I guess we're gonna jump right into it with the background, I guess. So I'm 23 years old. I went to college or concurrent enrollment throughout high school for engineering. Didn't really like it. I knew what I didn't like throughout high school. And then I was doing sales kind of on the side. Like, I wasn't legally able to make a paycheck from doing network marketing.
Right.
So I was doing it under different name, under my folks' name.
Mm-hmm.
So they would cut me a check, and so I worked with my mom through that, working network marketing, and got quite a few people interested, and it was great. It was awesome. I made some quick bucks, but most of all, what I got from that was the training and education of like really networking yourself and marketing, like word of mouth, but also like just the psychological factor of meeting people and talking to people and networking.
Yeah.
It was the biggest takeaway for me. And so I had years and years of that throughout high school. And after high school, I just kind of decided, I was like, I don't know if I wanted to go on a LDS mission. I didn't know if I wanted to go travel. Traveling was like cool for Instagram, but not really for like. Excuse me. Well,
yeah, we're drinking
some fizzy stuff.
Hashtag also not a sponsor.
So like the thing that people want to do right out of high school is like travel, right?
Mm-hmm.
They want to get as far away, whatever. For me, it was like, dude, I want to get out of my mom's basement, stop playing video games, and be independent. And that was like it for me. And
yeah,
so like,
and you're relatively young, right? I mean, how old are you?
So I'll be 23 this weekend.
Yeah, dude.
And so, like I could afford a mortgage. I mean, this rental house is like a mortgage.
Sure.
I
mean, in Utah, Utah prices, everything's a mortgage at this point.
I got to wait for 2 years for my LLC to form before you can use it, which if you're thinking about starting a business, start it now, because if you want to use that business for loans, just a little financial thing, do it now so you can build, history basically, because you need that for like everything. And I'm a contractor technically, so I don't have a long, extensive history of making money through an LLC, so it's like hard to get a loan and anything. But side note.
Yeah. That's actually really good. Yeah, include that stuff if you think of it, because there's a lot of people out there. Just
a thought. I'm telling my wife she should set hers up anyway if she's making money on the side.
Yeah.
Anyway, so out of high school, I did a couple summer sales jobs, and then stopped doing those because it just wasn't my thing. But I really was trying to get into marketing, because I felt like, okay, sales was cool, but I wanted a higher level of sales. Like I wanted the psychological part of sales, the strategical part. I'm gonna wait till the dog.
Oh no, there's dogs here. You probably hear them. That's okay.
Sorry.
No,
I got a German Shepherd, Pomeranian, Shih Tzu, Chihuahua, whatever thing. Anyway, so it was like I kind of funneled my way into what I wanted early on, and then decided, okay, I've done network marketing, I've done summer sales. I want to do the strategic part of sales, which is marketing. It's the grand, if you think of sales, they're, the baseline soldiers.
Oh yeah.
And marketing is like, your generals, your guys who make the battle plans and all that other stuff. So that's what I want to do. And I was like, I want to do anything to get me into there. And there was this quote from somebody back in like network marketing days who said like, it didn't matter like what your job was, as long as you got closer and closer every year to what you wanted to be, right? So if you wanted to be in like easy, like if you want to be in Formula 1, apply for a janitor job. If you want to be like a guy who leads a team in Formula 1, start with a janitor job. Get in any way you can at any, just start and then work your way up through there.
Yeah, that's what I've kind of told a lot of people. Like, my brother-in-law, he's only 19. He's in college right now. I tell he's really big into, cars. He loves, Formula 1. I mean, he played video games all growing up.
Yeah.
Formula 1 games, and he knows those tracks inward and out. And he's like, I want to jump into the industry. I mean, he jumped into more the mechanic side of it.
Yeah.
But I'm like, dude, just start, like if you want to get somewhere, like go take out the trash for them. Go like be a concessions person. Just get your body there.
Yeah. Do something for free.
Yeah.
Do something who you can network in there for free.
Oh yeah.
I've gotten a lot of gigs that way of just being a friend and whatever. So my niche was like, I started SEO at Alder Home Security. Shout out to those guys. Awesome. Kevin and Josh. Love you guys. Those are the dudes who hired me. And I went in for a sales job, but I asked the sales manager who was trying to get me in, I just want marketing. Like, I don't want a summer sales job. What do you have for marketing? And it took me, I had to go through his speech, and then he said after my speech, if you still want to do marketing, then sure. Because he needs, summer sales guys need summer sales guys. So they try and recruit you for that. And no discredit to them,
No, not at all.
It's their job.
I've done plenty of summer sales.
Yeah, it's like it's how it works, Yeah. So, once I listened to his speech, I was like, I still want to do marketing because I know what I want to do. And he's like, all right, I'll go talk to our CFO or CMO and see if there's any openings. Luckily, there was an opening. They saw me that day, and I said, I don't care what I do. As long as it's something that like makes you guys money and you can make money off of me and like I can learn. And they're like, well, we need SEO. What do you know about SEO? I didn't know jack about SEO.
A lot of people don't.
I did it. And SEO is search engine optimization. I was like, I did some web design, so I kind of knew the lingo of what they're talking about.
Keywords.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I was like, okay, so I know a little bit of what you're talking about and what you guys want. So I just said, I was like, yeah, I can do SEO. I was like, I don't know what you guys need, but I can do it. And so they told me to come with a presentation of what I can do the next day. And so like that night, I was like studying everything I could to learn about search engine optimization. I prepared like a PowerPoint presentation, ended up interviewing and didn't really actually get into SEO. I just got into social media marketing. They needed a guy to post. They needed a kid to do that. And a little help with SEO. So blog writing, link building, that kind of stuff. So I was like, okay, cool. I can understand these basic level concepts that you guys need. It was $15 an hour, which it was great at the time. Yeah. It's like a lot has changed in like
what year was this again?
This was like 2018.
Yeah. Okay.
So like 3 years.
Yeah. It's still not
$15 was like pretty great.
And you were a single guy.
Single guy living with roommates.
Just got off his mission, I take it?
No, I actually didn't go.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
all good.
Good. I was debating between that.
No, you're good, man.
Anyway, so yeah, it was a awesome gig. Loved the guys there. Spent so much time learning and actually helped the film crew, May Sorensen and those guys develop commercials, which were just awesome and hilarious. I met the Man Spot early on. Because he used to work for that company in summer sales, and I think he met his wife there. Awesome guy. And we filmed a fun commercial.
I don't know super cool.
Yeah. we blew up a car behind him as he was walking out, and that was just... I was like, I want to do film. I want to do videography.
Yeah, heck yeah, man.
This is exciting. So that kind of developed my taste into video. And then... social media, it gave me the reins to do a lot of creative things. And Kevin and Josh were like, yeah, we just need these things done. As long as they're done, be creative. They kind of let, as long as I had my stuff done, I could help out, do like experiment.
They gave you creative license just to do whatever you want.
Yeah, test.
Dude,
and so one of the things I tested was some of Instagram's algorithms, and I started a page called Gunny Gunner. And it was a repost page to begin with, so reposting just other content, you tag the original poster or whatever, and it was just a bunch of firearm stuff because I was developing a taste in firearms, and I bought my first gun a week before me and my wife went on a date. And
what was it?
It was a Ruger MPR 5.56.
Nice.
So
solid. Solid first gun.
Sure. I've never owned a gun at this time. My mom, growing up, didn't want guns in the house, supported the Second Amendment, but she was one of those types that like didn't want it in the house. Whatever, it's fine.
Typical story.
Yeah, you know, and so never really had guns and whatever. So that was my first like, oh yeah, dude, I bought an AR-15. Like, I have the forbidden fruit, the thing that everyone makes out to be evil.
Power.
Exactly. It's like, and so it was a cool thing. And I met my wife on LDS dating app called Mutual, and I was like so excited. I bought my first gun. I knew gun safety from Boy Scouts, so basic level, don't point at anything you're willing to destroy, finger off the trigger, safety, all that stuff, unload it, check on, So I had gun safety down. I wasn't accurate, wasn't fast or anything, just had the basics. And I was like, you know what, I want to do a fun creative date. So I asked her, hey, do you want to, and she'll tell a different story.
Oh yeah.
I asked her originally if she wanted to go out with a group, because my roommates had guns, to go shoot at a range. And I was fine doing indoor and outdoor. And I asked her, indoor or outdoor. My buddies bailed. So it ended up being me and her. And she said outdoor.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
And so she's going out with a complete stranger, first date, to go shooting alone. And if you know anything about shooting, you have to go, if you're doing outdoor, you have to go away. Like, you can't just do it.
Yeah.
It's not something you just drive down the street and you're around service.
We're in big sky country. So here, that's easy to find. If you're like in the East Coast, I mean, that's a little, I don't know. Maybe it's a little easier, harder. I don't know. If
you're doing indoor, it's easy.
Yeah.
It's like, it's down the street, ready gunner.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah, I was like, all right, let's do outdoor shooting with a stranger you never met. We're going to drive an hour. We went towards Eureka. Pulled off at a spot that looked like people were shooting at. Yeah. And we had bought items that at the dollar store that like had meaning to us, right? And that was the date ideas, like buy $1 items, 5 $1 items that had meaning to you, or like told something about your history.
Oh yeah.
So it was a cute idea.
Yeah, I've done something similar.
First date. Anyway. So that's how I got into guns, I guess, or that's the story of me and my wife and our first date. And it was risky on her end. Don't know why she ended up going out with me. And
dude, I think a lot of people ask that question.
Yeah,
like,
seriously.
why me?
Why
me? like
awesome.
We said at the beginning. Yeah, she's cool. It's kind of at the one of those things. Like, I always like hearing people's backstories when it comes to like how they got into certain industries. How they were able to meet their wives, because I mean, it kind of gives personality to like these entities that we create on social media.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like these personas. And so I don't know. It's cool to like get to know. I don't know if you were able to hear the first episode. Jenny Simons. She's like an ex-ski racer, super like normal girl. And she, dude, like she's 21, just bought like a $600,000 house. Like, sorry, Jenny, I'm telling your story for you. I mean, we'll
go watch that podcast.
Yeah. She's super accomplished, and you'd never know that, because I think there's a good balance that people create sometimes. Like when they make like an online persona, or they're themselves. Like there's those far and few between that actually like they're themselves. And she's super humble and all that stuff. I just love seeing that. And dude, hearing your story, like that's kind of that same vibe. Like super cool dude. Like you'd never know you were into that stuff.
I mean, now it's kind of like guns used to be my everything, and like just because I got in the industry, so I went. But yeah, now it's cars, and like I'm meeting guys who are into cars but also into guns, and then they're like, oh yeah,
let's marry the two.
Exactly. Yeah. So I mean, I love both industries. I have more roots in guns than I do cars.
Yeah. So with Gunny Gunner, I remember that page. So you made that shift pretty like abruptly. Like it was
no warning.
Yeah, what was the whole reason behind that? I mean, I think for me, I know that reason. I think.
Yeah.
But
so I mean, it's twofold, right? And there was a lot of reasons. So make a long story short, I went from Alder, started doing Gunny Gunner as a test project. It turned out great, loved it. Met with a company called Culper Precision, Brandon. They wanted to be on board, so I accepted a job with them.
You started at Culper, right?
Yeah, that was the start of the gun industry for me.
That's right.
Officially. And so, it was awesome. Love those guys. Still love those guys. Great.
Yeah.
Atomic 6.
Dude, they're awesome.
Freaking awesome gun.
Block 19.
Block 19 is their recent thing. Yeah, I love those guys. So then from Culper to Ready Gunner with Neil and Casey. And so I was doing a couple of things there, and spent about a year with them doing marketing to a media and videography. And I just wasn't really the right fit. And so I was like, let go, no hard feelings.
It happens.
It happens.
Dude, in every industry.
And
it's all good.
I just wasn't the right person that they were looking for that position. totally okay. Still buy my stuff from them. Awesome. Ready Gunner, shout out. Great place to buy guns.
Dude, but like it's a good resume builder. Like,
yeah, no,
like,
it's great.
And
I asked him, I was like, hey, what did I do well? What didn't I do well? And so if I look for a job, would you recommend me? What kind of, and so, yeah, they're all cool about it. And so, yeah, from Ready Gunner, I really didn't want to compete. And I knew the thing I was going to do from Ready Gunner, from being let go, was start doing my own business and like furlough the 9 to 5 and work for myself. Because one of the problems I had is like, you're not as motivated working for someone else as you are working for yourself.
Yeah.
So when you're the person, and this is for me, it's not for everybody, but like when you're the person that it is dedicated on you and you are fully accountable for your time, then it like puts pressure on you.
Yeah, and that's kind of how I am for this podcast. Yeah. I mean, like I have a full-time job for the state. Like I do all these other things, and I was working part-time at a gun shop. Just like discounts. Like you can't argue with it. Pay was crappy, great discounts, but I ended up quitting because I'm like, I want to focus on my stuff. Like I want to do what I want to do, and it's so true what you're saying about like when you're accountable to yourself, like. You're not going to like fire yourself. You basically are the pivotal person of your, on your success, and dependent on your success. And it's one of those things that I see, I find myself like doing extra things, with editing, with sound design, things like this with this podcast, making, doing artwork that I've never really done before. And dude, like it's so rewarding.
It is, yeah.
And I love.
And it's a confidence booster too.
It really is.
It's one of those things that compounds. Once you realize, okay, I can do this, now I can do this, and then so on and so forth. Like, it builds that, and also the credibility to yourself. Like I can be honest and go to bed at night and be like, yeah, I earned my paycheck, I earned my wage. When you hold yourself accountable, and so like. Being let go from Ready Gunner was hard because like I don't like leaving places with bad tastes. I like leaving things better than they were. And one of the things I didn't want to do was like compete. I didn't want to like take what I've learned and take the people that I've like been in contact, because Neil got me in contact with a lot of people in the gun industry, and it was awesome. And we got to work with a ton of companies. I mean, Ready Gunner is the epicenter.
Yeah,
a lot.
They're like the gold standard for Utah gun shops.
Yeah,
because they're more than just like a gun shop. I mean, because 2A Media Marketing, that's run by Neil, right? I mean, is that his company?
That's his company.
Dude, like that's so awesome.
They are like, their network is deep. They have guys in Call of Duty. They have guys in special forces. Like their network is really deep in the gun industry. And I just didn't want to, like, how douchey would it be if I took the list like. And I had built a client list and whatever there, and how douchey would it be if I went and just try to work with them
independently?
Yeah, like so I was like, all right, I don't want to do that, and I don't want to compete against Neil, just because that would be, stupid, and also would be douchey. Yeah. So like, the natural thing for me was like, okay, I'll pedal my way. I'll do some jobs here and out, and I worked with Johnny and. He's a great guy, and
Johnny from Legion Targets.
Legion Targets. And so he helped me out, and I got some jobs that like helped me get by. And then Jake, which is from AltaView, came to me and he's like, "Dude, Jake is a very spiritual guy. He's a guy that's like in tune with the spirit, and so whether whatever your belief is, no discredit, but like this dude, he prays. Prays about it.
He's someone you look up to as like kind of like a spiritual guide, so
absolutely.
to speak.
He's very in tune with it, and so he was like, I had this feeling to work with you, but I didn't know, and I wanted to do this for years and stuff, and I didn't know what that would look like, and he wanted to start like a YouTube channel and just have me work on that for like a year, and so things progressed. We're working on a YouTube channel right now together. I transitioned myself from gunny gunner because I wasn't just about guns, and to not compete and to not do
and then on top of that too, all the YouTube censoring, and like demonetization. Like I can't tell you how sick of that I am.
Yeah, I mean, it's nuts. I mean, it's so stupid. If you're in the know with YouTube, like people who do gun, I guess, channels
Gun
don't
content.
really make that much from YouTube, and they really have to rely. Like T-Rex Arms has his business.
Oh yeah.
Grantham does consulting, and other people who have these.
Other people do
Brandon Herrera has his business.
Yeah,
like,
affiliate marketing, things like that.
exactly.
Yeah, all
Leviathan
kinds.
Group, and there's that whole, like, whether you like it or not, there is that whole influencer, because like you have to understand, it's not like other industries where like MKHP. Let's take him. He's a tech guy, very neutral, no politics, whatever. He makes enough alone from YouTube without needing to take a paycheck from anybody to support him, a full team, and staff.
Right.
Now, he does do collaborations. He does take paychecks, but imagine if you didn't have an entire source of revenue access to you.
Right.
You'd have to rely on companies like Leviathan Group or sponsorship deals, and people say shills, people say whatever, and it's like, well, there's a lot of effort that goes into making videos for you guys. Yeah, I mean,
It's
like,
a lot. I mean, mine are pretty low, low production value. But even then, I mean, I'm spending an extra 2 hours at least, just to clip things from the timeline, adding an intro, outro, sound effects, all that stuff. It's a lot of work.
On some of our videos, I spend about 18 to 20 hours editing.
Oh yeah,
that's just editing, scripting,
Easy.
and everything. It's different.
Easy.
And so it's a lot of work. It's a full-time job, and so you got to find a way to support your family, and most people, they find companies that they're already using or that they like or support, and that's the great thing is, like, most people are honest about it. Some people are, they use crappy companies. Like I love Crossbeat holsters, and so it was a natural fit. I carry every day. Excuse me, I had to burp.
No, you're good, dude.
Don't want to burp right into the mic.
No, burp anything.
So it's a natural fit, and there's companies that have approached me still for firearms, and for cars and stuff that I'm like, I wouldn't like trust this. I wouldn't use it. So no, and even though it's like $500, a month or whatever, like most people, if they're smart, know that the value of trusting a brand, like having a brand that trusts you and you can trust them, and their audience, and they have good customer service is another thing. Yeah. Like they'll stand by their product. Like a good, I guess, influencer or videographer, photographer, promotional person, whatever, will find companies or work with companies that are great.
Oh yeah.
And so so companies who choose to do that, they're not just terrible. They're not all shady. They're not all crappy. There are those that do that, and they're usually smaller YouTube channels. They're usually don't know what they're doing, don't know what they're talking about. And so, there's that ebb and flow with things, with anything, like, right.
Yeah.
You have shady people in any business.
Yeah, it's true. And with my channel, I mean, just to kind of backtrack a little bit, as I've you've got, it's really, I mean, yeah, you can know a lot about, it's, for example, the gun industry. I don't blame you from going from gunner straight over to cars, because with, the whole demonetization, on the platform, on, suppression of information, a lot of people are in denial about that. But, I've seen it firsthand, and it's really demotivating when you put all this time and effort and you want to be the best at, say reviewing something or presenting something, whatever that might be for your channel, especially if it's gun related or Second Amendment related in any form. It's demotivating when, YouTube takes that down, and, I don't know. Sorry if I'm like going on a little tangent here, but
right, man. And so that was, that's a part of the reason, to go the car route. Yeah. Again, the main reason is just like, it's something I wanted to develop. Same as guns. I never really worked on cars. So my family split up. I didn't really have like a dad for most of my life. And so like all these things that I wanted to do on my own or learn how to use, like how to fix a car, how to do, how to shoot guns, how to protect my family,
hold the flashlight still.
Yeah, exactly. Like I and I had my stepdad for the later years, and he was awesome, but I was like, okay, I gotta be my own man, and I've got a wife, and like I want to learn how to do these things before we have a kid, so I can pass on my knowledge to them, and And so, and no discredit to my
No,
dad.
no.
It's just like, divorced families, that's kind of how it is.
Yeah, the dynamics
It's weird.
different.
And so you kind of have to grow up and fill that parental role. And so there's a lot of things that I missed out on that I needed to learn. And cars was one of them.
Yeah.
I've always had a passion. I would say, coming into it, I wasn't a car guy. I was a truck guy because I had built my Tacoma. I was working on it. And so I could get the car thing, but I really became a car guy when I started driving, really tracking, getting with Jake and getting into these cars. And I'm like, wow, the amount of power and control that I could put down on the road.
It's liberating.
It is.
It's super liberating.
It's free. So it was awesome. So yeah, I mean, I got into cars for various reasons, being monetization, being I didn't want to compete. I had every opportunity to try and weasel my way, and do something dirty like that, but I didn't want to do it. And I just was like, nope, don't want to touch it with the 10-foot, I don't even want to be accused of taking
at least
clients.
for a couple of years,
well, I mean, just in general, I don't have any interest in it and I would say anymore, but it was a real temptation to be like, hey, I could do, call up somebody, hey, I could do that. Of course. But don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't
no, either way, it's super cool of you that, a lot of people don't have that self-control to move over from an industry. They don't make you sign a non-compete, but I mean, there's people out there would totally take that, and snatch
or
that
take advantage of it.
Take advantage of it. Oh
whatever.
Yeah, for sure.
And especially in the gun industry, people take advantage of each other a lot. And we just had a case with, Anthony Travis Raids.
Oh yeah,
dude, what a mess.
And we've kind of talked about this on other episodes, but oh man, I want to hear your take on that for sure.
So I don't want to take away from those people who have been legitimately affected hardcore. I have worked with Travis on various projects. One of my biggest videos hit 2 million views on YouTube before I pulled it and we made the switch. It was for Flux Defense and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
And great Flux Defense, awesome guys. They weren't any part of what Travis did or anything.
No.
He screwed over a lot of people. But anyway,
they were a byproduct, or they were bystanders of a lie.
Oh
pretty
yeah.
much.
So Anthony Travis had short version had lied about his service and all that other stuff and put himself in very high positions.
Oh yeah.
And
received a lot of products and a lot of attention.
Yep.
He kind of lied about. He did lie about being a Green Beret, right?
Green Beret was the one that he got caught on.
That was
pretty sure he lied about being other special forces.
Super serious stuff, man.
And it was hard. It was the hardest because he was one of those guys that you root for, right? He was one of those guys that uplifted everybody, made everyone feel good. He said the right things. He seemed wise. That was what was tough. It was you find those guys who are supposed to be genuine and hold this standard, and then it comes to find out that it's all based on nothing.
Yeah, violating trust, man.
Yeah, and so anyway.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you. You touching on that. When I heard about that, I actually didn't know who he was. And so I'm trying not to judge the guy, from my point of view. Yeah, it's really crappy what he did, and there's a lot of people out there that do, have stolen valor, on their resumes now. And a lot of people don't get away with it. A lot of people do. And, I don't know, just seeing, like I said, I'm trying not to judge him, but I also, one thing about the gun industry too is that we eat our own. We punish our own, and we also are at each other's throats all the time. It's kind of a weird dynamic. But as soon as he was found out, I mean, a lot of people cut ties with him. Understandably, a lot of people. I mean, he kind of disappeared there for a bit, and he
came back, said apology, and then
he just disappeared again.
Yeah.
But man, stuff like that. I mean, my dad is a Vietnam veteran, and I was kind of talking to a few people that I know that are also Vietnam veterans, and it's their take on something like that is like, man, like they know people that died, that gave the ultimate sacrifice in the line of duty. And then you got these guys that are saying they're something they're not, and representing something that is solidified by those people that died. You know what I mean? And it's super sad. It's super sad to see that.
I mean, so at what point you got to ask yourself, like, how did it get so far? And like, I think we've all told white lies, right? We've all embellished stories, but at some point, like lying about service, like there's a line you don't cross,
Yeah.
And that was one of them. And it's one of those things that like I think his explanation was, I started doing it, and from the video that Green Beret Foundation, he started doing it, and then it just built on.
It compounded.
Like, dude, call that person back. Like, once, if that white light comes out, you call that person back and say, sorry, that's not true. Like, you don't just...
Yeah,
and
repair it. Repair put that
right
Band-Aid
then
on
and there.
right
Yeah.
then. Yeah.
Don't build that foundation then on. It just won't work out.
Yeah,
at the end.
it's just like they, as an elementary school kid, they tell you, one lie turns into multiple lies because you have to cover all of these areas of the lie, and that's kind of what happened.
Yeah,
that's exactly
people who doubled down on the lie, and I'm not perfect.
No.
Like I said. I like to tell stories and whatever, and especially in videos, dude, like where you can make somebody, and this is part of Instagram, right? You can make anything look like anything these days. You can make your life look great. You can make it look terrible, whatever you want to portray online, you can make it look like anything. Just don't, I'm telling you, it's not a good long-term strategy. You'll regret that whole road.
You'll get caught. The truth always outs.
Yeah.
The truth always outs.
So just be solid. Like I would say, if you don't know something, it's okay. Like, it's okay. We're all learning. Like, it doesn't matter where you are in life. Just own up to it and be like, hey, I don't know. And like that's part of the process. Like, I'm pretty prideful. I'm not gonna lie.
I think we all are. I think we all are.
I would like to think. I'm some macho marketing whatever guru, but like at the end of the day, it's like I can only speak to what I've done, right?
For sure.
And
it all comes down to what's on paper for you, and I hate
what's the numbers, what's the analytics, what's the data
exactly.
So
and that's kind of the resume, like the unspoken resume. Like, you have to be able to show, obviously without lying, and anyway, but.
And like I said earlier in this episode, right, we talked about me getting that SEO job, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Luckily, I didn't do SEO. I just did. But
when they asked you.
But when they asked me, right?
You were straight up like, I don't know, but teach me.
This is what I did find out, and I would say the second day I showed them, hey, this is what I know. Here's the presentation, whatever I prepared. And I was like, to be honest, I would like to do photography. I've been doing photography, and that's what I wanted to go into, and that's kind of why I got into social media and all that stuff. But anyway, so I mean, at some point it's gonna catch up to you, but just be careful. Like, don't embellish, especially in the service record. Anyway.
Yeah. No. Really kind of.
Know what you're capable of, right? First of all, know what your capabilities are.
What your limitations are, where, when to say no, when to stop, when to say yes, I mean, take it, but still like challenge yourself, like
push the limits, but like it comes to common sense.
Don't bite off more than what you can chew.
Yeah. I wouldn't say I'm a CMO, but I definitely can do groundwork. Like, I can wrap my head around blogs, link building, simple principle concepts, and do those things. But like, don't jump out of the gate, and we're not all Bill Gates on day one.
Oh no, not at all.
And so it's like, you start somewhere, like where I was talking about, be a janitor, like start ground level, right?
Right.
Start where you can, and luckily I can move like laterally, or not
laterally.
Yeah. So I mean, like, I have achieved so much in marketing that I know what I can apply to different companies, right? And that's kind of what I've done with switching from guns to cars. Is I know formulas, and I know because of the experience I've gotten from these jobs, that I can take that and apply it to now cars and AltaView and Cobalt V, which is the entity now. So
yeah.
Anyway, you build yourself up day by day, but like, you know, just, I wouldn't say overpromise. Know your capabilities, know your limits, and know where to start. And yeah, you'll be good.
Yeah.
You'll be good.
So really quick, tell me more about Cobalt, dude. I have a few questions about Cobalt, your channel. Let's get away from the darker stuff here,
dude. There's so much I guess history with that in just 6 months.
Yeah. So I guess my question is like, what? So I've been watching a lot of your videos for the past few weeks as you've been posting them, and man, like I'm super impressed by like just your animation and, you know, just how excited you are to be talking about a vehicle, multiple vehicles, whatever you're talking about in each video. So what's your process to developing these videos? I mean, are you working on a team? Do you have a script?
So let me just say, like, it's a lot of work that goes in behind it, and I would not be able to do it if it were not for Levi, James, and Jake in putting in the work for AltaView for me to take the time and do Cobalt. So like off the bat, I'm really lucky to have a team who's willing, because AltaView makes the money, right?
Oh yeah.
Cobalt V makes nothing. Like it's in the negative because technically I'm hired under Cobalt V or contracted.
Right.
So the only reason I'm able to do what I do there is because of guys like James, Levi, and Jake.
Mm-hmm.
So first of all, that's the essential. That's the foundation. Like everything costs money. And so I've already had the camera equipment. But what goes into making the video, right, is first of all, the research. Like we have to decide on what car we want to pick. Usually it's a car I'm genuinely excited about or want to know about. Because if I do, like, if it's not going to excite me, it's not going to translate on camera.
No, you won't see it at all.
Exactly. And so we're still changing the formula. And we actually have a new series coming out here soon that's much more... Excuse me, bourbon. I should not drink these things.
No, man, these are great. Whatever. Like, you get people on these podcasts drinking, like, White Claw, like, seltzer water stuff.
This is non-alcoholic. It's Fit Aid.
Yeah, it's Fit Aid.
Me and my wife love this stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway, so going back to the process, right? It's first the research. We pick a car that we like and genuinely want to know the history of, but we're shifting some things there anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And then we learn as much information on the timeline as we can about this car. What makes it tick? What's its special? What's its niche? Why is it unpopular? Why is it important? We just did an 8.6 video, right? The 8.6 or the BRZ. Or
that was a good video.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah, I love that.
It's relatively not an exciting car, but what it did really well, like it's not breaking speed records, it's not breaking track times, but it's really good at kind of giving you the feel of what a sports car is. You know, in that balance and really honing in at like, here's the basics. We're not going to show you flash. It's bare bones what you need. And that's why people love that car. And I kind of fall in love with the cars I talk about too, because, you know, it's just something I'm passionate about, right?
Yeah, it's kind of part of the deal. I mean, when you're talking about the car, like you said, you have to be passionate about it, and passion, you know, only turns into to love, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Or it can, especially for cars.
And once you're doing so many of them, you realize that everything was built with a purpose. Everything from like your fork that you eat on your lunch with, whatever. Some team of engineers went and like developed to the best of their capabilities what they could produce, right? And so somebody loved this thing at a point in time, and it filled a niche. It filled a purpose. So what is that purpose, right? And that's why I love these cars. Is when I buy a car, I'm like thinking, what does this thing do? And why was this developed? Why is this better than what I can get? A lot of people, their uncle drove this car and it was reliable, and so they bought it. Or their mom likes this brand, so they buy it. You know, Subaru's thing is passed down from generations. It's like, it's not a great tagline, to be honest.
No, like, it doesn't fit the brand. Yeah, that's for sure. So, I mean, like, you know, for me, I don't care what my parents drove. They had a different purpose. They had a different reason. They had a different thing for me. It is, what is this car good at? And for the Tacoma, the best thing about the Tacoma is that it's popular. Yes.
That's the best thing about the Tacoma, because people make parts for it and they make them cheap.
Aftermarket.
And
Dude,
exactly.
It's excellent.
You can find anything you need to know online on how to mod that vehicle.
Oh yeah.
That's why I bought it.
That's why there's like none of them left on these lots anymore.
Yeah.
You know, like it's crazy. Like it's exploded, which is good.
Exactly.
You know, the outdoor culture has exploded because of vehicles like that.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah, exactly. And so I knew exactly, like, it's not good. It's not the best power. It's not even the best truck
To tow. It doesn't, you know, it doesn't have that.
A great truck, but it is popular, and people, I wanted something I could work on, and that everyone has tried and been around every single angle and corner around a vehicle. So that way, if I mess up, somebody on a forum online has made a video, has made a post about it, and I can find it and fix it. Right. And so that was my thing with the Tacoma, is like, I wanted a truck that was going to be user friendly to work on and make into what I wanted. And that was perfect.
Yeah.
And the Beamer, I guess, is just like, that was kind of Jake's idea, which shout out to Jake. But that was like, I wanted to tap my car guy. I really wanted to tap into a wilder, untamed,
jump into a different realm.
Exactly.
You know? Like it's a different ball game.
Yeah.
By the way, if you're listening to for those feelings we hurt about the comment with the Tacomas, don't worry. It's a very capable truck.
It's capable.
You'll be fine.
Guys, I still have mine parking out.
Yeah, it's right there. Yeah, so
you might have bought it for a different reason.
Yeah, exactly.
I know why I bought it. I don't know if you know why you bought it.
No, yeah. I when I bought mine, you know, it was a 2001 Tacoma, dude. Like I did not expect it to tow a trailer, you know, like full of stuff. Like when I drove that, dude, I drove it across the country. First off, bad idea. Don't ever do that. Don't ever drive a Tacoma across the country and back.
Any car.
Really? Yeah. But especially that, because first I was getting like 13 miles to the gallon, and
manually shift it.
Yes, I hadn't re-geared it either, and so it was.
Try reef shifting first before re-gear.
Yes.
If you guys are struggling with that, anyway.
No, you're perfectly right. That's totally true. Do that.
Get a manual if you can.
Yeah.
Yes.
No kidding, dude. Like that would have been awesome.
Yeah.
But like if you're rock crawling, I don't know how good that goes over.
It's decent. I mean, it's technical. You got to get technical with it, but I mean, so. All automatic cars will, even if you're in the shift mode, which is S, usually in the Tacoma it's S, it's not really manual. It is more of like, okay, this is the gear I prefer to be in, right? Mm-hmm. If you shift all the way up, or usually like hit your points right, and you're using your gas properly, the problem with the Tacoma is it has an issue finding the gear. And I doubled down on that issue because I got a performance tune, so it has a problem of finding the gear, and it's usually in a lower gear. So I go to manually shift mine, and I was getting 12 miles to the gallon. Now I'm back up to 18. No joke. Just
seriously
making sure I'm in a higher gear and watching my throttle, because and my throttle is a little bit more responsive. Like it's different from stock.
And I'll be sure to post a picture of his Tacoma on the video. So if you're watching on YouTube, check that out. It's pretty sweet. Yeah. He's got a lot of good photos. Yeah. To say the least. Yeah. It's good stuff, man.
It's a good build. I mean, it's history. But yeah, anyway, sorry.
No, you're good. You're good.
Over there, but yeah. So, I mean, I guess we started off with what goes into the video. That's kind of what goes into the video, right?
Yeah, no, there's a lot of elements. And I think, I mean, you guys hit the nail on the head. And I foresee, a year down the road, dude, that channel is going to be pretty, I mean, it's already popping.
We don't
from
be
the
like
followership.
Donut Media. We kind of are.
Yeah.
To boast on myself, right? Like, I'm editing this as a one-man show. There's a lot of people that support it. There's a lot of people that, gosh.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah.
Wow, I should have came closer.
No, you're good, man. That's fine.
There's a lot of people that allow me to do what I can do, but like we're able to achieve really high-end episodes, I would say, especially for kind of a starting channel.
Oh yeah.
Because I have that time to put into each episode, but it's not there yet, and I think that we're going to be doing, like, this is the part of like where, trying to find that success, right? Finding the niche. We're working on some niche stuff, so we're not just like copying people and doing a history.
You want to diversify, especially
exactly.
with this stuff. You have to diversify.
So I think we started with what we knew, right? But now it's time to take that leap and try something different. Like, I learned so much in the past 6 months about editing, graphics, and animation, all that stuff. Like, these episodes forced me to do that and become a better videographer and storyteller,
right,
to prepare for this next level of content that we're going to make. And so, I try not to waste anything, right? Do not waste time. If you're going to do something from it, make sure you're learning at the very minimum, because most people, they'll do something and it fails, and then they'll think, oh, I'm a failure.
And then just quit that thing.
Exactly.
I've been guilty of that before.
Yeah. And yeah, it sucks. You are paying time, rather, in some cases, to go and do something. And if your takeaway from it is that it didn't work and you failed and you want to quit, that's the wrong outlook. You should say, well, this is one way not to achieve the goal. And so now I just need to narrow down, how do I achieve that? And I will tell you that, like, at bare minimum, doing anything in life, if you are at least learning, you will improve, and it'll put you miles ahead of most people who are, out of college or whatever, because, they've been given, and not to bash college is great, but
it's great.
They've been given kind of, here is one path and one way of success, or success in how you look at it. They haven't been told what doesn't work. They haven't studied or realized or tested their own methods of success or happiness or ways of doing things.
Right.
And most college students, some have done their own thing and do great. But most are just like given, here's the path, here is the road. Follow this road, don't stray, otherwise you'll not make money.
Yeah, and the issue that I've found, I mean, I graduated from college, but like the one thing about it, like growing up, that they should have told us, or that I guess they kind of did in high school. I don't know, because everybody's different. But for me, they didn't tell me. They said, go to college, you'll graduate, you'll get a good job. You'll fill that tank full of information, and you'll be able to regurgitate that information or put it into practice once you get into the job market. That is not always true. I mean, even if you go to a trade school, I mean, yeah, you're learning skills, but when you get to the real world, it's a whole different ball game. Yeah. And so, like, dude, I can commiserate big time, because I've seen people go into like $80,000-$90,000 in debt for a teaching degree. You know what I mean? Like, and they're making subpar salaries,
and they don't want to teach.
And then they don't want to teach, and like, oh, I should have done, cosmetology even, like, or something that would have been miles cheaper. It would have been like way cheaper to just do that, as opposed to, I don't know,
something else.
Something
learning
else.
What you don't want to do is super important, and learning wrong ways of doing things is valuable, right? And I think that's kind of the gist of it, is like, there's the traditional school, and then there's the school of hard knocks.
Right.
And in my personal experience, I have learned more from working and actually getting in the space, getting in marketing, and having great teachers. Building
those relationships and stuff.
And listening to guys, hey, this doesn't work, pro tip, this doesn't, like Johnny. Like Neil, like Brandon, like Jake, like listening from my bosses, like Kevin and Josh, learning from their actual world experiences, and they were my professors, right? And so it's one of those things where it's like, well, I kind of did go through college, but I got paid doing it, and
sure,
and I was able to build the relationships and work awesome jobs and build the networks. And so, education is super important. I'm not trying to bash it or anything like that. I'm just saying, like, you got to try, like,
there's a lot of different ways to learn, there's a lot of different, like, school isn't a cookie cutter solution to getting a good, career path.
Actually, something I want to say on this, right? Most of what works in the world, right? And this is counting with school, it's not because it's the most efficient way of doing things.
Right.
Like, you'll realize that so much of the world is held together by glue and duct tape that it kind of scares you. Like, it's kind of funny, because I'm just thinking, I'm like, there's a lot of things that people have built, and it's not they didn't build it because it was the most effective thing or the most efficient thing. They built it because it worked for them for a certain amount of period of time, and it held together. Cars fall apart, lives fall apart, like houses fall apart, everything falls apart. There's nothing that's like eternal besides, obviously faith,
for
gospel,
sure,
whatever. If you have, to each his own, I believe in certain things. Anyway, but there's nothing like man-made that's really held together forever. Like, and so I just kind of think, hey, everything's made of glue and duct tape, and it works. So they just did it, and it's maybe not the most efficient way.
Right.
It's maybe not the best way. I mean, products come out every day that solve issues, that help.
Yes.
Like we have phones now, and they're cool, but they weren't cool 10 years ago.
No, they've evolved faster than we have as a human race.
Exactly. And so once you realize that, like there's nothing set in stone. Everything is fragile. Everything is,
and the only things that you're going to take with you, or that you're going to leave behind, when you die, is your knowledge that you've passed on, and that you've gained.
Legacy.
Your legacy. Yeah. What is that? So dude, like it's pretty profound.
Well, I just
it's great.
And this was something that I recently kind of learned, right?
Yeah.
It's not, I'm still learning. Like I'm,
everyone is.
And I'm like young, so of course I'm still learning, but technically your brain's not developed till you're 25, right? So,
technically, some people I wonder about.
Yeah, it may be older. That's okay. Yeah. But you never stop learning, and that's the thing is, nothing is really set in stone.
Sorry about that, guys. We had a little bit of a hiccup, but
we're learning.
It's all good. Like I said, if you're watching on YouTube, forgive the video quality. It's the content that matters. Tanner's been really good sport, dude. Like I just appreciate your input, like just your experience. I mean, you're gonna be 23, right? Is that what you said? 23. Yeah. I mean, you're gonna be 23, dude. Like I'm almost 31, and I'm like, I've just taken it's one of those things, like you take a different path. I've learned from my mistakes. What am I doing to better myself right now? Or what am I doing to pursue what I'm really passionate about? I mean, I love my job, my day job. There's just other things I'm interested in. Like I'm one of those people that has to jump into a hobby full force, do everything with it, reach the pinnacle of that hobby, and keep going with it. That's what I love to do. So it's one of those things. And so I think you're learning it a lot sooner than a lot of other people do. I think that's good.
I mean, I lucked out with, I would say it started with the network marketing, and my mom kind of letting me do unorthodox things to make money, right? Yeah. And so all good, all legitimate, nothing bad.
Yeah. I don't know.
No stripping.
Maybe there was. I don't know.
I'm not a stripper yet.
Not a stripper. Okay. Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, I think it started with realizing, oh, hey, there's other ways to make a buck. Cool. And people are, I like people. Yeah. I like talking. That's been pretty consistent throughout my life. Is I've always liked people and pleasing. I'm a people pleaser.
People pleaser. Yeah. Yeah. That's kind of how I am too.
I like making people happy.
I like getting along with people. I think that's my mantra is just, I don't like having enemies. Like I think I maybe can count like 2 people on my fingers that maybe I don't like, or they don't like me. I don't know. But usually even if I have differing opinions in someone, it's kind of what I talked about in the episode with Leaf, is in order to be that influence where people of differing opinions can come to, like, you have to be approachable. And by having enemies or being someone that is not, is not that person, I mean, they're not going to come to you. They're not going to confide in you, and I don't know. I've had my share of good experiences with people with completely opposite viewpoints or, religious views, whatever. Yeah. And it's great. I mean, be a decent human being.
Yeah. Just know it. Like for me, it comes out of love, right? I don't genuinely wish anyone harm. Right. And I do kind of have a tough love kind of thing, where it's like it works for me. So what has worked for me is pressure, hardness, like failure result, like that's what has worked. So when people perceive, like when they try and educate a toddler or educate somebody, right, they're doing it in the way that they know how.
Right.
The way that they perceive will work, right? And so whenever somebody gets into an argument, I kind of observe the way that they have learned or have been...
their thought processes.
Their thought process, exactly. So I'm like, oh, okay, that person could use a little love in their life, or
yeah.
And I, whenever you're in an argument on Facebook or whatever, Instagram, get out. That's the best strategy. Get out. Don't do it.
Yeah. And that's another point I've made in other episodes is like, back to our whole discussion about, excuse me,
there you go.
About, creating these personas on social media. I mean, I hate saying it like this, but there's not enough people in the world that have needed to get punched in the face. You know what I mean? Like, I know that sounds really tough.
No, yeah,
I know that sounds really stark, but we say all these things on social media that we'd never say in person. But I don't know.
Just imagine this, all right? Just imagine this. This is how I look at it. Imagine if what's your favorite movie trilogy?
Probably right now, Lord of the Rings.
Okay, imagine if you watched 10 minutes of Lord of the Rings. That's all you can do is just watch one spot of 10 minutes of that entire trilogy, and somebody told you that is Lord of the Rings. And that's what social media is like.
Yes.
Is like there's this person who has taken years and years and years to develop, and all I'm experiencing is like this second
blip in
this
there.
15-second reel or video of this person. So also be safe with what you put out there, but also too, it's like I can't really fully judge this person and their entire lifespan off of what I've seen 15 seconds, because it would be like judging Lord of the Rings or Avengers after watching 10 minutes of it.
Right.
So, and I try and keep that in mind, and most people come off really hot-headed when it comes to debates. That's just human nature. I do it.
Some people are really defensive off the bat. And,
exactly.
I get it.
Me and Jake, like, dude, it's a good thing that we genuinely love each other, because like we are both hot-headed, and when one of us disagrees with the other, our immediate stance is like defend my point of view.
Defend my honor.
Yeah, exactly. Like like we feel attacked, and that's me. That's me too. Like I feel whenever somebody like comes and is starts off aggressive or stern, it's like I feel attacked, so I put up these walls, and this is the position I'm taking, and I'll defend it. And that's kind of what social media is. I feel attacked. I'm putting up these walls. I'm defending this position and pushing forward. So it's like you're not really even getting the best 15 seconds of that person.
No, you're not. And you're not showing in your best 15 seconds, of yourself.
Whatever.
Yeah. And so it's kind of a double-edged sword. Like when you're debating one of my good friend used to tell me, don't argue with an idiot, because the innocent bystander might not know the difference. Because they don't know who's right and wrong in this instance. Yeah. And so just avoid the conflict. Exactly. But still deal with it. Don't. Yeah. I don't know. Now
I feel like this is a whole other episode.
Yeah, for sure. Own, but and that's another thing too. Like, dude, I'd be more than happy to have you on again. Like, and next time we'll have better lighting. Better lighting. I'll take care of that.
We'll learn from our mistakes. Dude. No problem.
But dude, like to kind of wrap up, I don't want to take too much of your time, but like, what are some things that you want to plug? What are some? Do you have any cliches you want to share? Is there? We've shared a lot during this episode, but
anything that's true will get repeated to you, I guess, over and over. So like, if something we've said you've heard before, it's probably true. That is a part of my learning process. Is I'll recognize when things have happened over and over again, and I'm spiritual about it. I'll recognize it as a sign. You can recognize it as truth, because truth is a constant. All right. And
correct.
Lies are something that somebody tells, and it's only told once, essentially. It comes from one person, one time, and you won't hear it again if it's a lie. Right. But if it's true, many people will speak of it because it's a constant. So if you've heard something before, from somebody you revere or admire, and you hear that same thing from another person you revere or admire, it's probably a truth, and you should probably listen to it. I have had a lot of teachers from YouTube and, teachers in real life. Like I've said, a lot of my bosses, coworkers, listen to them. Honestly, it's something I'm working with. Always could improve on. I'm very, like I said, I'm very defensive when I think of something, and I usually defend it first and argue before I listen to the objective side. And that's just a character flaw. Like maybe that's my upbringing, maybe that's whatever.
Sure.
It's just a thing. So I try and subdue that as much as possible, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to listen, and I'm going to put this in context and where have I heard this before? Is it a true? Is it a constant? Is it something I should look into? And if so, if it checks those boxes, maybe I should adapt and try it and test it in my life. And if I've tested it in my life, doesn't work out, whatever, move on. Maybe it works for some people. But
yeah, no, dude, that's great. Yeah. So
a lot to talk about.
A lot to talk about. And, I appreciate that, all that you've shared. I appreciate sharing your background, your current career path and things like that. Definitely grounds for another episode. But yeah, for those listening, be sure to check out Tanner on his Instagram. Go ahead and drop your handles.
Oh yeah, Tanner B. Seymour. The one that's really important is, I guess, Cobalt V. Yeah, if I had to be known for one thing, I'd be
Cobalt V Crew, right?
Cobalt V Crew on Instagram, Cobalt V on YouTube.
Yeah.
So that is the team. That is Jake, Ariel, Levi, James. We got a new team member coming. So I would love nothing more than to do that for the rest of my life and make videos with those guys.
Yeah.
That's what I would love
Seems
to
solid.
do.
Yeah, that seems solid. Yeah, so I'll leave all of those handles in the description below. Be sure to check them out. Check out the channel. I'll leave all that down there. Hitting the batteries over here. Yeah.
Dude, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, you're welcome,
it's
man.
It's called the Handshake. We got a handshake.
Yeah, every time, man. So let's do it. Yes.
Bro, dude.
Yes.
This is I like this. We're going to have to do another one.
We'll do another one. Yeah. But we'll talk to you guys in the next one. Bye.